Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. And thank you especially to the patrons who make this possible for you every single day with their support at patreon.com/SW7x7. So we're going to be talking about Tales of the Empire finally, and starting off with the first episode. The first 3 episodes feature Morgan Elsbeth. The second 3 episodes feature Barriss Offee. So we'll start as they offer them to us with The Path of Fear. So the first of the 3 stories is featuring a young Morgan Elsbeth. So we'll do this in sort of a modified 7 takeaway breakdown kind of situation. These episodes are short. This one is 17 minutes long. All of these are. That's just what the deal is with them. And so our first takeaway is to say that we are meeting a young Morgan Elsbeth, a teenage level Morgan Elsbeth, I believe, who is already well versed in fighting. Very proficient with a bow and arrow, very proficient in hand-to-hand combat, holds her own against the commando droid. And as you've no doubt seen in footage from the episode, this is taking place during the Battle at Dathomir, which takes place in 20 BBY, so the last year of the Clone Wars. I think it's basically season 4 of the Clone Wars as well if you're playing along at home. And for a second takeaway, to get into even more specifics, so during the Battle of Dathomir, there's a point in time at which General Grievous gets into the Night Sister fortress and kills old Daka, and when that happens, all the Night Sister zombies go away. And so then basically it just becomes a complete rout, and all the droids and General Grievous just start completely destroying the Night Sisters. Just yeah, brutal. And we are seeing the aftermath of that situation as we see Morgan Elsbeth and her mother Selena and a bunch of other Night Sisters trying to escape. And our third takeaway is basically the fact that this is, as they say, Morgan Elsbeth's villain origin story, because she sees her mother die at the hands of General Grievous. Her mother puts on an incredible fight with the sickles that are enchanted against multiple lightsabers from Grievous, but it's that third lightsaber that gets her, and somehow, good for her, Morgan Elsbeth is able to escape after all. Or at least escapes with her life, because of course she collapses on the field of battle and nobody finds her alive during the battle. It's not until afterward that she's discovered by, and this is our fourth takeaway, the Mountain Clan. And they offer her a home as long as she needs it until she decides where her path is going to take her next. Now, she is already bitter and angry, as you would expect under the circumstances, and in addition to everything, the markings that she has on her face start to fade away, and the leader of the Mountain Clan tells her that's because the power of the Night Sisters has been broken, and so their spells are fading, and that's why those markings disappear, which then, when you cast your mind ahead to the Ahsoka series, and when she actually gets to Peridea, she starts getting those markings back on her face because she is in a place where Night Sisters have power. And the understandable bad attitude is going to just get her into trouble, as we see with our fifth takeaway, where she starts becoming a bad influence on the younger members of the Mountain Clan, leads them back into the forest to get weapons to defend themselves when the mother of the Mountain Clan is saying, yeah, we don't want to fight these people and we won't bother them and they won't bother us. This, of course, seems like a really bad way of thinking to Morgan Elsbeth, so she manages to talk other young women in the clan to follow her back into the fortress to a place where there are weapons stored. There's a probe droid looking for other survivors, and she probably should have been thinking about that because they saw separatist ships flying around looking for survivors previously. So of course this does not go well. A separatist ship shows up, drops a bunch of battle droids down, one of the young Mountain Clan girls gets shot, and then out of nowhere, the mother from the Mountain Clan materializes, and with a bright white light is able to send a huge pulse of magic power and destroy not only all the battle droids that are there, but also that ship that was there as well. Now, when the head of the clan is referred to as mother, it's a little hard to tell necessarily if, somebody young is saying mother, if they're saying mother as in the head of the clan, or mother as in, the person who gave birth to me. But you kind of get the idea that Nolly, the one who was shot, is actually the daughter of the mother of the clan, and she had been swayed by Morgan Elsbeth. The mother tried to talk her into keeping on the straight and narrow, or at least what the Mountain Clan's version of the straight and narrow was. And Nully says, I see that our Mountain Clan way was the right way after all, and I'm sorry, and dies in the mother's arms, which then basically makes the mother of the Mountain Clan curse Morgan Elsbeth for all intents and purposes, saying like, yeah, I see your path and I pity you because I know what's to come. And they abandon her. The Mountain Clan abandons her in the ruins of the forest with the fiery wreckage of the ship and all the battle droids there. And so that's how the Path of Fear ends. And for 6th takeaway, I'll say that if all of those separatist ships and probe droids and stuff were looking around for survivors and whatnot, like, it does make me wonder how the people of the Mountain Clan were able to get onto that battlefield and find Morgan Elsbeth without being spotted themselves. Like, this little thing in the back of my head, but it's easy enough to suspend disbelief on that one. And for a 7th and final takeaway, Diana Lee Inosanto, who plays Morgan Elsbeth in live action, is not actually the voice of Morgan Elsbeth in this episode. However, she is the voice of Selena, who plays Morgan Elsbeth's mother in this episode. So I thought that was a pretty cool, and there's your 7th takeaway fun fact. And so that's what I've got to share with you about The Path of Fear, which is Tales of the Empire episode 1. We'll dive a little more deeply into this episode on the next episode of the podcast, but that is going to do it for this one. If you enjoy this daily dose of Star Wars joy, please consider sharing it with other folks that you know, whether in person or online, or with algorithms via ratings and reviews and likes and subscribes and follows and joins. And you can even do that by supporting the show at patreon.com/SW7X7 and letting folks know that you're doing that too. And it just remains for me to say thank you so much for joining me for this episode as always, and may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be.
7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited, or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.